So, all right, my friends, for those of you who are just joining me now, you have just popped into Friday Facebook Live with Anna Marie. I'm just Stamp. I come on every Friday for a class. I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Riverside, California, and I love stamping. I love to share the joy of stamping, and I always say it's twofold, both for me while I'm creating and also for the person that I'm gifting the card or the project to. And just as a reminder, if you're here, please leave a comment. Let me know you're here. If you popped in a little bit late and you want to jump over to the project soon, you can click over to my YouTube channel and see just the tutorial so that you don't have to spend too much time catching up. And you just have to give me a few minutes to upload the video. So that said, are you ready to see today's project? All right, I have two for you, and if you stick with me till the end, I'll show you a third project. These are the two cards I'm going to be sharing with you today. You see, they're very springy. They have a little lamb, a little bunny, and these little critters come from the stamp set, which is part of our bingo coming up, the Springtime Joy. You can see I used the lamb, there's a bunny, a little chick, so sweet. There's a cute little basket of eggs, a couple of flowers, a butterfly, and 3 sentiments. And I like the way the sentiments are written. They've combined the fonts, that scripty font with the sans serif font. May the new life of spring bring joy. Easter is a lovely reminder of new beginnings, and welcome spring. It's a nice little set. It's balanced because it's got the images and it's got the sentiments all in one. If you join me for bingo, you do get the option to add the stamp set at only list price, which I believe is $20. So when you join me for bingo, you don't pay tax, you don't pay shipping on your stamp set. So these are the two projects that we're going to create with that stamp set. And let me start with this one. You can see it has my favorite 2019 in color, Purple Posey. I know, thank you. Yes, Debbie has registered for bingo, so you're going to be joining me to make the pretty Springtime Joy cards. This is another option for that stamp set, and I am sharing with you, this is like my go-to card layout. When I want to get going and I just want to make a couple of quick cards, I usually fall to this layout and what I need for it. I am starting with my basic white card base, and it's cut 4 1/4 by 11 inches, and it has been scored at the 5 1/2 inch line. So that's pretty much a standard cut. You have usually 2 ways to cut the card, either in a vertical orientation or a horizontal. We also have options on where to place the fold. So this one's going to be top folding. That means the fold is at the top and it opens this way. I could also rotate it and have a left fold and open it this way. Either way takes up the same amount of cardstock. And next I'm going to need my 4 inch by 2 inch designer series paper. This is pattern paper with Purple Posey in it, and this particular paper came from the Playing with Patterns designer series paper. So this is a paper, I'm pretty sure it's going to be going away. It has Calypso Coral, Costa Cabana, Crushed Curry, Night of Navy, Purple Posey, and Whisper White. It has a lot of pretty patterns in it. And what I like about them, they're great background patterns with stripes, dots, patterns. And of course, wow, look at all the selection you get. And of course, there's always the flip side. So really pretty paper stack with great colors in it. And there's quite a few that have the Purple Posey in them as well. We are using the one that has like brushstroke lines on it. And that needs to be 4 inches by 2 inches. So the next thing I'm going to need is a piece of Purple Posey itself. This one measures 4 inches by 1 1/2. And I'm going to need a circle, and I cut a stitch circle. This is the largest stitch circle. It's about 3 1/4. I need a little scrap, and I need also a scrap of purple Posey. And that's all I need for this card. And some ribbon and my embellishments, of course. So let's get started. I'm going to start off by adhering the 4-inch pattern paper. I'm going to adhere it directly to the card base. And let's see if my Tombow is cooperating with me today. It looks like it is. You know, there's lots of different adhesives that you can use. There is the seal, Stampin' Up! Seal. There's a Stampin' Up! Seal Plus. There are other tape runner options. There are glue dots. There's this Tombow liquid glue, and this one happens to be my favorite. It is very economical. It's easy to work with. It's very forgiving. And this particular design has 2 tips to it. You've got the fine point tip and you have a brush tip on it. So it works really easily, really well. Again, it's very forgiving. And that's one of the things I love about it. The next thing I'm going to do is take my purple Posey that measures 4 inches by 1.5. And I'm going to add a little bit of this tri-colored ribbon. So this has those tone-on-tone colors I mentioned, the purple Posey, the Highland Heather, and the gorgeous grape. And I need about a 6-inch trim of this. I'm just going to trim that across, and I'm going to adhere it to my purple Posey layer. I'm just going to flat adhere, so I want to tuck it to the back. And truth be told, you could use just some tape. You could use a glue dot. I'm going to use some Seal Plus to just hold it in position. And it goes, I'm just going to wrap it around, bring that extra around, wrap it. And there we go. And then I'm going to adhere this or layer this to my card base. So again, Tombow liquid glue. This is a super easy layout. I love it because it shows off the stamped images. There's just a little bit of fussy cutting on this particular card. And I'm going to now adhere this. The pattern paper I adhered flush left. The solid paper I'm going to adhere flush right. And it's about 1/2 inch smaller, so we're going to have about 1/4 inch peeking top and bottom. And that is this layer here. The next thing I'm going to do is add a pretty bow to this tri-colored ribbon, and I'm using this polka dot tulle ribbon. This is in the annual catalog. It is a beautiful ribbon that coordinates with lots of different things, and I just need about 13 inches of it. So I'm going to just trim that down. And I'm going to be tying a bow here. So, you know, Easter's coming up very quickly. These little cards will be needed to pop in the mail pretty soon. I've already received my first Easter card of the season, and it's an amazing card. Non-Stampin' Up. I should have it handy to share with you. I didn't bring it close by. Maybe next time I come live I can share it with you. Absolutely amazing, a work of art, in fact. So I'm just struggling with the tulle ribbon. That's the thing with the tulle, because of the little netting, they kind of stick. It doesn't slide. So you just have to be careful and be the boss of the ribbon. It will do what you want. You just have to be patient with it. And I'm just tying a little tiny bow. There we go. And I'm probably going to want to trim those tails down a bit. Okay, so next I'm ready for my stamping, and I'm going to bring in my stitch circle. I am using Memento Tuxedo Black ink, and we're using Memento because we are going to be coloring with stamping blends. So I'm just going to stamp on here, right sort of off to the left a tiny bit, and I don't have to worry about it being even or level because it's a circle. I can just rotate it. Now I need a second inking of just the little floral crown, and I'm going to do that on my scrap. And I'm just going to come in here, still tuxedo black ink. I'm just going to stamp down on that. That is the small amount of hand snipping that we're going to be doing. So the next thing I'm going to stamp, let's get the stamping out of the way. I'm going to be stamping with Gorgeous Grape on Purple Posey. I'm going to stamp my sentiment, which is Welcome Spring. And that is going to be hand snipped. I'm following the shape of the sentiment, so trying to stamp kind of straight. It's not critical because I'm hand snipping. There we go. I'm happy with that. I've got my sentiment, I've got my lamb and the crown. And so next I am going to do a little bit of blending. So the little lamb is very simply colored using the ivory blend, and I just kind of went wherever the shadows would be. So kind of coming around here where the little fluffs of wool are. Very tiny amount. So he's kind of like a white lamb with a little bit of shadowy fluff right under his head, around the edges, right below the crown. I don't have to worry about coloring the crown because I'm going to be coloring that separately. And I'm coloring his little hooves, and I'm pretty much done with the lamb. I'm going to come in here now on the crown. I am coloring around the edges, the very edges, with still the ivory. And now I'm going to do those pretty flowers, and for the flowers I'm going to bring in my Purple Posey. I have my dark and my light, so this is a retiring blend because it is an in color, and I'm going to pop Purple Posey on the front flower, and let's see this back. There is Purple Posey. I'm going to color one Daffodil Delight, and this one happens to be the dark Daffodil Delight. And then I'm going to do one in Highland Heather. So this is dark Highland Heather, and I'm going to use the pen tip just to keep within the little flower. We're coloring small images here. And then last, I'm going to do those little leaves in Granny Apple Green. This is light Granny Apple Green. So we've got our Purple Posey, that's the main color here, with a little bit of other spring colors going on. I'm going to be doing a little bit of hand snipping. So let's take it away. I'm going to need my paper snips, and I'm going to start here with the crown. And this is pretty easy snipping. I'm just going to go quickly around the curves. Let's see if I can do it. This will be added to the lamb's head with a dimensional, so it gives a little bit of a 3D effect. Well, good afternoon, Sandy. Thank you for joining. We are creating some springtime cards using the cutest little spring set called Springtime Joy. Right now, we are creating with my favorite retiring in color, Purple Posey, and I like how it coordinates with Highland Heather and Gorgeous Grape. And that is one of the reasons that purple is my new favorite color. I love that combination. So I've got my little crown with the pretty flowers. Like I said, I'm going to pop this up onto the lamb with a little dimensional. Actually, I'm going to use the standard dimensional. And I'm just going to lay that right over the top of the... Now, How cute is that? So sweet. And it's dimensional, so it kind of looks like it's 3D. This is going to be flatted here to my card front. And, you know, my favorite adhesive. Hello, Barbara. Thank you for joining. And good news, Barbara will be able to join us for bingo. Our table's filling up quickly. So I do have a few seats left still though. All right, so now I'm just gonna place this in position. Here's where I wanna make sure that the lamb is level. So I'm gonna put him right like so. And it's flat adhered. I'm gonna add a little bit of grass at his feet just to ground him a little tiny bit. Just a few blades of granny apple green grass. I'm gonna come back in with that sentiment, welcome spring. And I love these combination of fonts with this sans serif font and the scripty font. And I'm just gonna kind of follow the shape of the letters. And welcome spring. I think paper snips have been on back order for a while as well. So hopefully ships will be coming in and product will be coming in so we can start receiving our products quicker. All right, so that is going to be popped up also with dimensionals. This time I'm going to use mini dimensionals since that's a tiny sentiment. I'm just going to pop it up with 2. There. And I'm just going to place them like so, right there at the base. Welcome spring. Now I'm not finished yet. I am going to bring in these darling little butterfly gems. They are embellishments that are in the 2019-2021 in colors. And you did get all 5 of the colors, the terracotta tile, the seaside spray, the rococo rose, the the purple posy, and what color am I missing? Oh, let's see, I'm missing a color here. Oh, the pretty peacock. So you can see my favorite color is missing mostly. That's a tip that it was my favorite, but no worries because any of these little butterflies will coordinate really sweet on this card. I'm going to take a couple of pretty peacock. Well, hello, Monica. Thank you for joining in on this beautiful spring day. We are making spring cards today using the Springtime Joy stamp set that's in the mini catalog, the January to June mini catalog. Now I'm just going to trim up the tails of the tulle ribbon, and I think I like my little card. What do you think? Welcome spring with that sweet little lamb with the pretty flowers on his head. So sweet. That lamb makes the card so easy. It's the focal point along with the purple posy in color. So there's my first card. I'm going to put that aside and introduce you to my second card. And again, I'm using one of the retiring in colors. And look at this. It is actually my least favorite, but here I've gone and used it on this card and I love it. So I'm still using one of the little critters from Springtime Joy, and I'm still basically using my go-to layout. It's a little bit tweaked though, and so let me share with you what I've done. I'm still using my card base, which is the 4 1/4 by 11, scored right in the middle at 5 1/2. And so earlier we were asking, which is your favorite retiring in color? I have a tough time calling favorites. All right, so the next thing I need is a 4 1/4 inch by 2 inch piece of terracotta tile. And I'm not sure if you can see, I have soft embossed this with the brick and mortar folder. So I wanted it to look kind of like the brick wall with the terracotta. I think that works nicely. And then my second layer that I bring in, I am using a die cut from the Ornate Borders die set. It's been a while since I pulled those out. They coordinate with the Ornate Borders stamp set and the Ornate frames, I think there is what they're called. I'm going to lay this right over the top of the terracotta tile. And again, I'm going to use my favorite Tombow liquid glue, just a tiny bit in the wider areas to stick it onto the brick and mortar wall. I love these little spring flowers. You could color them, maybe. I don't know. I like just the slight bit of color there. So, and I'm going to bring it in from, I'm going to flush align it at left and bring it in. And then I'm going to, you can see it's a little bit long, so I'm just going to snip it, flip it over, and just align it, abut it right there. And before I attach that to my card base, I'm going to take a little bit of ribbon. The ribbon I'm using is Terracotta Tile, and it comes from the twin combo pack with the Ornate Flowers suite. So you get 2 ribbons. One I believe is Old Olive. You also get the Terracotta Tile, and I think I need about 16 inches. I'm going to go ahead and cut first. Usually I tie and secure first and then cut, but I'm just going to throw caution to the wind and cut, and cross my fingers I cut the right length. My bow is going to be tied off to the right, and I'm just going to wrap that. I like to have my ribbons meet and then cross perpendicular with no extra scrunches or folds. I'm going to bring the top down. And you know what? I think I'm going to grab my glue dot. Y'all know my secret to getting my bow to stay in place is to put a little glue dot down there. And I'm going to do that so that I don't struggle with it. So here we go. Let's see, I'm going to just put the glue dot down so that holds my ribbon in place right around there. There we go. Now I'm not struggling with it. And just going to tie, I'm going to bring the loop down, bring the bottom up and around and then through. And yikes, it looks like it's barely, oh, I'm not happy with it. I'm going to just try it again. It's a little bit too loose, so I need to just pull that a little bit tighter. There we go. And loop it around and try it again. And that's much better. And actually, maybe that's the perfect amount. All right, so I have my layer. It's ready to go onto my card base. I am going to flat adhere that. Again, I can just add the liquid glue. So you can see these are easy cards. There's no great technique. I'm just using a go-to template. And there we go, that goes flat adhered. And I'm going to be stamping a couple of things. I'm going to stamp my sentiment, and I'm going to stamp a bunny. So the bunny is going to be stamped and hand snipped. So I'm bringing back in that scrap, push that aside, and still using the Memento. We're going to be using the blend so it doesn't go that way. I try to be too thrifty with paper, but not right. Okay, so there's my little bunny. I also need to stamp my sentiment, and this is the one that says Easter is a lovely reminder of new beginnings, and I want it just above that little brick and mortar wall. So let's see if I can get it kind of straight. And I've got my head coming in right in there, and hopefully I don't goof. Nice firm impression, and voila, I'm pretty happy with that. So let's color up the bunny. And whoops, I neglected to double stamp the bunny head because we're doing the same thing with the bunny as we did with the lamb. So I need that second inking of just the little floral crown. Stamp. And then we're going to hand snip the bunny and the crown. So let me color up the bunny. I'm going to be using, again, this time I'm going to use light crumb cake, and I'm using light smoky slate for the bunny. He's going to be like a multicolored bunny, and I'm just coming in around the edges. He's got 3 colors going on. He's also white. So just a little bit of color in here. And a little patch around his eye. A little bit around his tummy. And then I'm going to bring in the smoky slate. So Easter is coming soon, April 4th, I believe, just around the bend. Unbelievable how fast time passes. I have been on a mission to do my 40 cards. There are some, I'm trying to keep up. There are some days that I have to send out 2 because I didn't quite make it the day before, but mostly I'm on track. All right, so there's my bunny, just a little bit of color. He's a splotchy bunny with lots of little colors. And then I'm going to color the crown. And let's see, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to bring in purple Posey. That's the light purple Posey. I think I want the dark for a little bit more color. Right in the middle. So as I said, I'll have a 3rd card I'm going to share with you. We're not going to create it, but I'll share it with you, and I'll talk about what I used to make it. So there's my dark purple Posey. I'm going to go ahead with some light Highland Heather. They're very similar with the blends, the same but different. And then I'm going to do one little flower in Daffodil Delight. And I'll do the leaves again in Granny Apple Green. And I'm just going to be hand snipping this little, oh, you know what I did? Yikes. I am going to have to double up on my work because I colored the wrong one. Silly goose. I really want this to pop up, so I'm going to go ahead and take the time to do it. I didn't need to color that layer because this is going to be right on top. Okay, I'm the only one that makes mistakes, right? Everybody's going to tell me, oh, that never happens to me. Never. Oh, well, maybe the second one will be better. And here's my dark color. And then my Daffodil Delight. Look at that. It didn't take very much time to catch up. And now I'm ready to hand snip, and I'm going to be hand snipping both the bunny and the crown this time. But the bunny is actually very easy. There's just a few little curves on it that we need to do. I'm just going to go ahead and go right. I leave a tiny bit of border of white. And this past card class had quite a few projects in the retiring colors. I think I had a pretty peacock card. And you know what, I'm being silly because I don't really have to be careful around the bend with the crown. Oh, I'm gonna run right through that flower because we don't need it anyway. It's gonna be hidden underneath the dimensional layer, so I don't need to fuss with curving around the little flowers. And there we go. there is one piece. I need the second piece, which will be just the little crown. And I think for the paper snips are the best for snipping. If you have too long of scissors, it's a little more awkward. So the paper snips help me be able to control. And you can see I'm turning the paper, not the snips. And I know lots of people do not like to hand snip, but I think it makes a difference. And just a tiny, tiny bit. Okay, so now what we're gonna do, we're gonna use the mini dimensionals to pop that on top of the bunny's head. And let's see if I can fit a second one on there. There. And it's gonna go right over top. This bunny then goes right in place here, and I'm just gonna flat adhere him. I want to put a little bit of adhesive on his ears so they don't poke through when he's slipping in and out of the envelope. He goes right around there. I'm going to add a few blades of grass using Granny Apple Green, just so it looks like he's sitting in grass here. Voila, and we're almost done. We are going to bring back in those sweet little embellishments. These are the butterfly gems, and I'm going to pick a larger one. And I'll tell you a trick with the gems. I usually use my nail because you really have to be careful that you're going underneath the complete butterfly so that you grab that glue dot as well, because they are self-adhesive and it makes it really easy. So there, and I'm going to add a third one. I was just going to do two, but I always like to add in threes. Maybe I feel like it's good luck that way. All right, so there is my second card with Springtime Joy. So we've got two cards here. Let me share with you the cards. So there we go. There's our Springtime Joy cards using two of the retiring colors, the Terracotta Tile and the Purple Posey, and some of the coordinating ribbons and the coordinating embellishments to make some spring and Easter cards. Super cute. If you have any questions or any comments, please post them. And I promised you I would share a third card using the stamp set, and here we go. Here's my third card, and I'm using almost all, with this card, I've used almost all of the images from the stamp set. This is the last sentiment. May the new life of spring bring joy. I used those cute little flowers in the stamp set and the little butterfly. Of course, I colored with the Purple Posey, Daffodil Delight, and Calypso Coral. And I did a little ombre effect with the flowers going on here. So these little flowers were punched with the Small Bloom Punch. It is in the annual catalog. Very easy, and I love it because they're so easy. You don't have to get out the cut and emboss machine. You have a little embellishment in no time. And so what I've done is I created the ombre effect, Purple Posey, Highland Heather, Gorgeous Grape. I use that trio ribbon, and still with the same, the 3 1/4 inch stitch circle die. So really simple. There's my fifth card. Let's see if I can bring that in and share. And as I said, if you have any questions or comments, please post them. And I would love to see or hear that you are duplicating some of these designs. I hope I've inspired you. Please make sure that you either comment or like or even share the video if you liked it. I will see you next Friday at 2 o'clock. And thanks for joining.